Welcome to SithTalk, brought to you by Dedekar and Lanyard, bringing you news from Star Wars The Old Republic and beyond. Join us now as we explore the universe and take down the Republic in a galaxy not so far away. Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Sith Talk. Of course, I'm your host, Dedekar, and on the other side of the microphones and the internet and the world is Lanyard.
Hello.
And, this week, guys, we have a little bit of news. Unfortunately, I'm still going through my power supply issues, and anytime I try to boot up anything that requires 3D modeling, I might as well just shut my computer off on my own, because the computer will do it for me. So I will apologize for a firm lack of stories on my side. I know Lanyard's had a busy week. He's been immersed himself in quite a few different games, as I see my Steam profiles popping left and right when I log into that. And we have talked to a few of our old buddies from SWTOR that have either left or went to a different character. So we've got a little bit of news about as far as that's concerned. We do have no patch information, sadly, tonight. Because unfortunately they've delayed it until Wednesday. So each time we try to accommodate patch day, they go ahead and screw it up. You got to give me a little bump in the nuts either way. We do have some information though coming from our buddies at SWTOR Strategies. Has news on the Darth Hater site has been few and far between, unfortunately. But as we always do, we want to start things off and making sure you remember our sponsor Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/SithTalk. And go ahead and get yourself a free 30 days of the Audible program, as well as a free book. If you decide to, you are more than welcome to sign up for the monthly service at $15 or $25 or whatever you feel is suitable, and go ahead and get your additional books there. I actually after your comment on the Name and Progress podcast, I actually went back and started listening to Kevin Smith's Tough Shit, and I find it just as enlightening, if not further than previous. Also went and bought a new book on Audible. It's the extension of a show I was watching listening to previously. Let me find it real quick. Well, there's two of them actually. It's the Human Division by John Salzi. Which was a little outside of my norm. It's sci-fi, but it's space-based, which I don't normally get into. But it's actually pretty good. The problem is that it's not so much a novel or a book as it is closer to a novella or short story form. The other book I picked up, well, it was free on Audible.
Is it standalone?
No, it's not. It's part of a 13-book series.
And you just pulled it out of the middle somewhere?
Well, no, they gave away the first one, and they've got all the other ones in corresponding weeks on pre-order.
Oh.
But, I mean, the books are like 90 cents a piece, so you kind of do get what you pay for in the relevance of length. The first book only being 2.5 hours long, and then the other ones ranging anywhere from 45 minutes to another 2-hour book. But I did pick up Day by Day Armageddon Beyond Exile by Jay Bourne. That is part of the series of the Day by Day Armageddon series that I had started previously, and I do really enjoy the book. Once again, it's a zombie flick, slightly different idea. This guy was in the military and decided to forsake the last call to be part of the starting stand against the zombie hordes. The idea that it's some version of it started out as being assumed to be a virus, and is now being possibly an alien plague. Which is an interesting change of gears between books 1 and 2. So I can't endorse Audible enough, not just because they're a sponsor, but because I have found myself listening to more and more audiobooks. And it's just a great way to pass the time, whether I'm playing my games or I'm just at work bored out of my skull. Not to mention long car rides. We were talking about getting our plan together for the move to Oregon, trying to find out how much it's going to cost, how long of a drive it's going to be, and everything. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know if I can load up enough podcasts to get me that far. I don't know if I have that many CDs to get me that far. I mean, once I get my stuff out of storage, yes, but It's
You know what? It all depends.
It's a 2,500-mile drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You're a trucker.
You know,
You're a trucker, buddy.
it all depends on how often your passengers need to get out of the car. That's all that really matters.
Well, therein lies the beauty of the problem is we can't. We're trying to decide between. I want to buy another car, so that we can have one car with a tow behind, and one car with my wife and my nephew and some of our pets in, and the other car with one pet, a whole bunch of shit, and me in it.
Okay.
And now I can drive up to 12 hours by myself,
right,
without anybody around or talking to me. The wife, on the other hand, we're real worried about. But we're looking at the ride, and it's not so much the ride that scares me, it's all the dead zones.
Yeah.
The areas that if you didn't have a satellite in your car, you're probably not going to get reception.
Yeah, like all of Texas.
Well, even going from from Utah to Idaho into Portland, or the Portland area,
all along 84, nothing.
500-mile stretch of nothing.
Yep.
My wife's like, well, there's stuff in Idaho. I said, there's Mormons and there's potatoes.
Yeah, you'd go through Boise and the Tri-Cities, Salt Lake. It all depends on how you go up, too. I mean,
Google Maps has us going past several major cities on the way in a few different states, a couple of toll roads, or we can avoid those, but we're trying to put that together, and I'm thinking about...
The only toll roads I would know the only toll roads I know are in Texas.
No, the toll roads that the map gave me were in Oklahoma and one other state. I can't remember.
Oh, that's right. You're coming from north. I mean, you're coming from northern Alabama. I'm still thinking you're down by I-10.
Yeah. But so definitely gonna be loading up a few unknown audiobooks before that ever happens. And trying to remind people that while we are fans of this show, we are of the game. Still, that we are doing the other podcast between the two podcasts and the normal the normal living situation. It's not cheap to produce these by any measure, and it's not just the time, but it's the effort we put in. We attempt to put into it for everybody, and just keeping it. Well, there are some things we can't afford to do. Like me fly out to you so that we don't have to worry about internet connections or
fancier backdrops and intros and editing.
But supporting our sponsors is a way of putting in a few dimes there. And if you chose to, not that it's a beg or an absolute have to, but if you chose to, we do have the PayPal link if you have the few shekels you want to throw towards us. I just got done filling out my Elder Scrolls beta my beta thing, and I went and I was pulling resources from our YouTube channel and our Podomatic site and trying to figure out what makes me sound like a more informed, more accessible outlet for video game reviews and stuff. And I'm like, well, we've got Name in Progress now, which is great, and we're getting that started, and we're still between the three of us hashing out the frequency of the show, the recording duration, and so on. And I've got SithTalk, and I'm like, well, I've been doing this podcast for a year. I've been playing this game now going on 2 years, played 8 years a while, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I get into this. Not just because I like Elder Scrolls as a franchise, but because I want to see how they approach an MMO. Their videos are very promising. Star Wars changed a lot of things by making it almost a standard to have voice-over cutscenes. Yeah. Which previously, when you were doing a mission, you didn't get voice-over cutscenes all the time.
Yeah.
They gave us a very rich story for the individual classes and some different takes on PvP. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how Elder Scrolls approaches that. Have you signed up for Elder Scrolls beta? Or?
I've got 2 other betas I'm still working on. Plus I'm picking up free games out of Steam now. Thanks a lot, because that's what I need is more shit to. But hey, Lanyard is getting out there more. I made another Lanyard. But no, I've got Defiance. I'm in the Defiance beta. They've got the server closed down the last I checked. So when that comes back up, I'll play that. I'm in the World of Plains beta still. So I'm in the, and then of course I keep getting into the test servers for any of the new stuff coming up. So,
But like I said, I haven't had a lot of time on SWTOR. Predominantly, I haven't had much time just because, like I said, if my power supply kicks into overdrive, or if my GPU kicks into overdrive, my system shuts down, and I'm waiting. I've got to, to supply the system. I told Lanyard prior to the show that I'm going to be rebuilding. It's going to take about a 1,300 watt power supply minimum.
Yeah.
And that's so that we can start live streaming.
He's putting together deep thought.
Yeah, more or less, just so we can give me a big 42 and crash.
That's right.
But I'm working on live streaming not only for this program, but for general gameplay, and of course I'm looking to live stream Name in Progress. While I don't, by any measure, wish to take over anything revolving around video editing from Lanyard. Though I'm sure he would love someone else to foot the bill occasionally for him on the production side. I'm looking at ways to be able to share my gaming experiences with our fans of this show and of future shows, hopefully, and to get the name out there a little bit more often. And that's why I'm building the second this new PC. I'm literally like 4 parts maybe away from just building a completely new tower.
Nice.
Which is the real beast of it. I'm replacing the motherboard, the processor, the power supply, and the case. The only things I'm not replacing are my GPU and the RAM. I'm recycling 16 gigs of RAM and keeping my GTX 560 Ti card. If I threw those 2 items in there, I'd be building an entire.
Dude, I saw 660. The other day when I was going to get video cards for the girlfriend's computer, and I saw a 660 something or other GTI NVIDIA super. Yeah. I mean, the box was like that thick and that big, and it was like $600 or no, $400 for this thing, and I was like, oh, drool.
Yeah. Well, that particular card is nearly the top of their realm. I think they go up to 690 and it cuts off.
Yeah, well, it looked like it was predominantly for 3D, the 3D stereoscoping or whatever they call it. I don't have that, but in fact, I just got upgraded my new video software, editing software. Just upgraded me to the 3D stereoscopic, so I could actually put 3D videos on YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, if anybody's got glasses, they can watch me in 3D, Ooh, which would be scary. So.
But yeah, I mean, I've looked at other video cards. I'm just hesitant to do it because I'm doing this with tax return money that's really supposed to go to bills and starting the moving fund. But guys, it
can't drive the computer up here.
Although it would be cool.
It'd be riding on this little.
But with my new rig, I'm hoping to start live streaming the games and be able to more or less live vlog more often.
Do a blog type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to do that because
I thought about doing that.
It's helpful to get shit off your chest every so often. And I'm not super gamery like I'm not a Felicia Day. I'm not in the world scope because I have a web series that's was able to launch me into superstardom. I'm still very grassroots at this point.
Yeah.
But you know what? Nothing happens overnight. Kevin's 4 million views didn't happen overnight.
5 to 7 years or something like that.
290 videos on his channel.
Yeah.
And he's been going at it for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm using it for. Not only so that I can share my love of gaming and the games that I play, but so that I can just maybe have a chance to be like some of the live streamers out there and just chillax and I said chillax. I should shoot myself now. And be able to share the games.
You need to throw on your day glow.
Do one of those. Dude, that's what I should do after I build this system. I should do one of those like the day from the time I'm off of work to one day. And stay up for 18 hours straight playing a single character.
on a game you hate.
I don't want to reload.
No, but that'd be good. But it'd be good because especially after 5 or 6 hours of it, you're like.
So basically, you live streaming HUD.
Yeah, for 18 hours.
But yeah, I mean, I got that coming. Unfortunately, apparently, the federal government has cock-blocked us from filing until the 30th of this month. So any gamers who actually have jobs don't expect your money anytime soon. But I know Lanyard, you've been playing a lot of another game.
Hmm.
Have you had any SWTOR time this
Well,
week? Or
I after we had went off the air, quote unquote, air quotes, last week, we were in that Lost Island, and it turned out that when I first logged in or first got in there, it was a bunch of, oh cool, I've never been here before. Uh, and
that's always a great sound.
the tank's name was Cannon Fodder, which is also kind of iffy, but apparently he was over geared, so it was okay. But and then our healer disappeared. She just vanished. So it was me, and apparently the guy that was saying, great, we're in here with crappy gear people.
Yeah.
He whispers me and says, hey, should we boot these people and get somebody else? So apparently Suiza has some decent gear for Lost Island, which is funny because she's got blues still, not like armor, but like accessories.
Yeah.
And we decided to bail on it, but we did have fun while we're in there anyway. We're dancing and shit. But that, and then after that, I went back to Fleet and was looking at getting Lanyard getting his pieces moved out of his blue and white chess piece
Yeah.
into his new spy chess piece. But shoot, I'd have to spend another 18 hours just to get enough money, because it's like,
Yeah.
because even though they've reduced the price of the transfer for those for the implants, or what inserts or whatever you want to call them, they're still really expensive.
The mods and shit.
The mods,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, they're still way too expensive, and he's got like 3,000 credits on him, so
Oh shit.
yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
also thought about
you gotta
starting.
pay more now that you're on a freedom plan.
Right,
Now,
and
right?
yeah, right. Everything costs 6 times
Yeah.
more. I also thought about. I was looking at all the stuff, and I was sitting there trying to figure it out. I could pretty much become free to play with all the benefits of of a subscription.
Just a small investment of.
Yeah, of credits. Cause,
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you go into the auction house and you just buy all the shit that bumps you up. You buy I bought the Unify Colors for account. That was 220,000 credits, right?
Okay.
You could buy the Unify title for the account, or allow a title account. You can buy the Legacy thing for account, and
Right.
all this stuff is on the auction house. And eventually, stuff's going to get cheaper and cheaper because people aren't. It's just how it is. It always does. It always gets cheaper and cheaper.
Well,
So
and it
I mean, all I'd
depends
have
on
to
how many people decide to butcher the auction house.
right, and then
Because there are some people like that'll try to take dominance and buy, just undercut people for no reason, and that's a good way to get the auction house just slaughtered.
yeah, and so I mean, if you look at it, you can get all the account unlocks through the auction house. So I could
Right.
basically essentially become a sub player, other than the no experience boost, unless I buy all the experience boost stuff all the time. So you'd have no experience boost, and you have limited XP, and you'd have limited some limited stuff, but not as much. I mean, I can get my extra bar if I wanted. I could open up my bags if I wanted. I could get my extra foraging thing if I wanted. So I mean, you could get it all through the auction house just by doing dailies and then paying for it all. And I'd have probably, if you did it and you got it all opened up, you'd probably have a good 90% of a subscription on still being free to play.
Yeah, so I mean, with the exception of the cock blocks of running running more dungeons or
Doing well, you
running
can still get
the
those
ops and shit.
You can still get the temporary ones though.
Right.
So I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, I'd like to come," you can still get that. So, and those are actually pretty inexpensive, like 50K. So
Yeah, so that's not too bad. I mean, and technically, somebody, if your buddy wants you to come, he can just flip you the credits and let you go.
depends on how bad he wants you to go.
Yeah. So I mean,
You pay, I'll play.
That's not a bad situation.
So yeah. So I thought about starting a new character.
Hmm.
and doing this, just running him through the storyline, right? And since I can't wear any of the fancy gear anyway, I don't do any repairs because I'm always getting drops or new stuff from right. So I don't pay for any repairs. I run everywhere or ride my little speeder everywhere instead of taking the shuttle bay thing. So if I did it that, and I don't get any uh, professions. Okay, so I just do my storyline and the little side quests that I can do, and just don't spend anything other than there was one thing that I had to spend money on. Skills upgrades. That's it. And then if I only do the ones that I really like, if I only get if I only pay for the
shit you're going to use.
Right, the shit that I'm going to use, then, I mean, like for instance, most of my characters, I didn't. After a while, I stopped paying for certain skill abilities because I never used it. So that saved me thousands, you know. So, but the only problem is every time you run by the trainer, they're like, "Hey, you need training." So it's like, eh.
Yeah.
But other than that, so I thought about doing that and seeing how much money I could actually save up by the time I'm 50 by not spending anything more.
Or how much money you'd end up with in escrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Right. That. Yeah.
Which is funny because I wonder if
it's too bad I don't get any
you spend
interest
the money
on
up
that.
to escrow. Like you've used some of your money. Do they deposit some more into your bags? Like I've never had, with the exception of that one moment, I haven't been outside of my since free to play. I haven't been outside of my subscription, and I saw that go to escrow. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just flipped my game back on, and it was done. But just wondering, like, if your shit goes to escrow, if
it goes to escrow, and then that means when you spend money, it comes out of that. So it's coming out of your bag, but it's technically coming out of escrow, I guess. Okay. I mean, I would think. I mean, if it's your freaking money, why would they just hold it and say, well, you can't get it until you pay for it? Bullshit. Well, I would not put that past them. Actually, they would say, oh, well, you've got 16 million in escrow, but you're going to have to pay, 2,400 cartel coins to open that up. That would not shock me, actually.
But I mean, it's interesting that because the wife was talking about, well, I'd like to load my account up, but I know I don't play enough to make it anything more than free to play, and what should I do? Or I was like, well, why don't I said, you really don't like the 250s that you hit. Why don't you just start a new account?
Yeah.
Because really, as it's free to play, if you've got an email address, you can download it. Yep. You can play it. It's not like they match it to IP.
Right.
So if you literally could start a fresh account without any thought to it. Yep. And I was actually thinking about doing that with the second account was start a new account under one of my other email addresses and just have at it that way.
Yeah.
That way I'd have a whole new character. There's really no liability. I could see, or I could attempt to see with fresh eyes what it looked like to play the game as a free-to-player without being stinted on the people that I'm used to being a pay-to-play player on. And that's a project I may launch into in February after I take care of getting my stuff out of storage out of North Carolina, because that's my next big expenditure other than the computer.
Nice. Well, good.
When the taxes roll in, I'm gonna place my order with Newegg and then start getting the stuff together for my 1 week my 4-day exhibition to North Carolina.
Mine's buying a Lamborghini. What was that called? Murcielago. That's my next goal.
A 1/8 scale model, I take it.
Yeah. Big Hot Wheels.
But I mean, I do have to admit, being without Star Wars for a while, I have been jonesing. I want to get in. I want to PvP. I was really intent on working on Rakat's gear for PvP healing, and I was really looking forward to that. And without that, I've been having to supplement my diet with other games, and it's not going well.
No.
And with the advent of Steam gifts and some Steam sales, I've been able to kind of help.
Yeah.
But there really is no release like my high function games. That being Battlefield and Star Wars right now. I can't even load up my Firefall beta that I'm in, but they're going to open beta soon. So that's meh. But I really want to get back into Star Wars and start playing more often, and I'm just hoping I can get the power supply. I should have it hopefully by, I believe it'll be sometime in the first week of February.
Nice.
Almost in line with our 1 year anniversary show. While it's not actually going to be episode 52 by then because of the time we've taken off for holidays and what have you, it will be our 1 year anniversary on the 13th of February. And
12.
if my taxes come in time, I'll actually be able to keep true to our gift, our rather large gift on through the interwebs, and having a drawing for that off of our
Should be episode
SwordTour site.
Should be episode 48
Right.
on the 12th.
So that'll be very good for us to be able to get that drawing and be able to.
13th,
while we won't have a full 52 episodes, which will be unfortunate. We will have a full year of being here and being here for the fans, and I want to make sure that they know we haven't forgotten them.
What are we talking about?
We talked about a giveaway.
Oh, the giveaway thing.
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing a giveaway, and I actually bought.
I got World of Warcraft Cataclysm Collector's Edition.
Oh yeah, well, that's what everybody's dying for. No, I was joking with my wife during the holiday season. Everybody has Black Friday sales. Well, we had a lot of leftover action figures, and there's like 10 of them on a board. And my wife's like, "Honey, weren't you supposed to be giving those away at Christmas?" And I went, "Yeah, but I kind of like them, and I don't know because I'm not. I've said it before. I'm not a Star Wars guy." Yes, I like Wookiees, and I like the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So to get these items and to have Luke and to have C-3PO and to have R2-D2 in the pack, I really don't want to give them away. And yes, they may eventually appear in whatever becomes a man cave of mine when we finally buy a house. And no, I'm not a fracking hoarder. It just so happens to be once in a while I get some things from Geekdom that I want to keep as mine own. I don't have a large storage closet of that. My Geekdom being I've got my original my top-loading NES and about 100 games. I've got a Genesis. I've got my Sega Game Gear in storage. And get this,
Atari 2600.
Speaking of Star Wars and games, I actually have a game, one of the original Game Gear games for Star Wars.
Nice. Nice.
I bought it.
I remember playing the Star Wars on the Atari 2600 years ago when I was a kid. It was Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Oh wow.
Mm.
But I actually got it from a place when we lived in North Carolina. Which made me really happy. I'm trying to remember what the name of the game was. Star Wars Game Gear. Okay, let's see.
Were you flying? Was it the one where you flew through, or did you actually using the saber?
It's Return of the Jedi.
Couldn't remember that, huh?
Well, the problem is trying to remember what the heck it was. I mean, some of them were given names directly following Star Wars, and then other ones not so much.
Mm.
And I was trying to remember which one it was. So, but we did have a little bit of news. We do have a segment from Pseudo this week, so that's good. Brutus had told me he was going to have one uploaded, but he was very intent on re-editing it.
Yeah, he said he wanted to make it better.
Yeah, and so I'm glad to hear that he was looking to bump up the quality of his recording. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he got it uploaded in time for this week's show, so we'll have it for the next show.
We'll also have Brutus's, was that his trooper?
His video. Yeah, we got a bunch of video from Brutus on his trooper and some of the rating that he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he's had to break it down and then send it over to us, and then I have to send it back to Lanyard so that Lanyard can piece it all together and make a nice video mashup of it. So we'll have that guy for you guys as well next week.
Yep.
But this week, when Lanyard's ready, we'll give you Pseudo, and then we'll go into the news.
Hello everyone, this is Pseudo, your Galactic Librarian, continuing with Skyborn Chapter 3. Adari watched the woman, still glaring at her from afar. She doesn't like me. Sela, Corson shrugged. She's concerned over her mate, lost from the crash site. And with a child, she's anxious to leave this mountain. He smiled, offering to help Adari stand. As a mother, I'm sure you understand. Adari gulped. She hadn't mentioned her children. She'd barely even thought about them since she arrived among the newcomers, she realized. Shaking her head in guilt, she revealed something else, that the Kashari might not listen to her. Corson seemed unsurprised and unruffled. "You're smart, Adari. You'll make them listen." He gently wrapped her shoulders with the azure blanket she'd slept beneath. "Keep this," he said. "The sun's setting soon. It could be a cold ride." Adari looked around. Sela stood in silent fury, unmoved from before. The others Corson had introduced eyed their leader nervously. Red, tentacle-jawed Ravlin exchanged a worried look with Hestus. Even the hulking Gloyd, who, despite his brutish appearance, was clearly Corson's greatest ally here, shifted uncomfortably. But no one barred her from leaving their campsite. When a strong hand did stop her at the edge of the clearing, she was surprised to see whose it was. Corson's. "About the Kashari," Corson said. "Who told us about Tav, your town? It sounds a good size, but how many are the Kashari? How many Kashari are there in all, I mean?" Adari answered immediately. "We're numberless." "Ah," Corson said, his posture softening. "You mean they have never been counted?" "No," Adari said. "I mean, we don't have a number that large." Corson froze, his grip on her arm tightening, his dark eyes slightly smaller than a Kashari's, focused on the wilderness beyond. She'd never seen him unnerved. If this was it, it lasted less than a second before he stepped back. "Before you leave," he said, finding a tree to lean against, "tell me what you know about the Skyborn." Corson had called the vessel he arrived in Omen. The word not only existed in the Kashari tongue, but was a long-held favorite of Neshtavar. Watching what was happening now on the plaza known as the Circle Eternal, Adari guessed even the Uvak riding chiefs were realizing the irony. She had returned to Corson after a single day, one full week after Omen had collided with the mountain and with her life. It had been a simple matter for her to attract the Uvak riders there. As soon as the patrols spotted her and Nink, they followed the whole way to the Cetagen range. The place had been the scene for several surprises in recent times, but none triumphed the moment when the Neshtavar came upon Adari standing definitely amid 240 supportive visitors from above, almost everyone signaling his or her presence with a glowing ruby lightsaber. She didn't have one of the strange devices, but she glowed just the same from within. Adari Val, collector of rocks and enemy of order, was now Adari Val, discoverer and rescuer, an answer of the mountain's call. Add profit to that, she thought as she watched the dozen-score visitors, some hobbling from their ordeal, enter the Circle Eternal. They passed between gawking, silent crowds of Kashari, many of the same people from her door the week before. Ahead in the circle, all the Neshtavar in the region were present, more than she'd ever seen. 3 days of aerial rescue operation had brought the newcomers off the mountain, days in which the word had gone out far into the hinterlands. The Skyborn had arrived on Kesh. Okay, everyone, that's it for this week. Tune in next week for the continuation of Skyborn Chapter 3.
All right, that's another great episode from the wife, Pseudo. And of course, we always look forward to hearing from her. I actually asked her if she had finished another book yet. She goes, "Oh God, no, maybe another chapter, but not another book." I'm like, "Okay, well, it looks like we've got years of stuff from her.
Cool.
Appropriate stuff from her.
Cool.
But we do have a little bit of information under the news, and then we'll get back into the random banter.
Here's your galactic news. Look what you missed while you were sleeping.
All right, so what you did miss is a patch because they delayed it until tonight. Or maybe you did miss it because, well, you went to bed because you said the hell with it on the 22nd and woke up on the 23rd and realized, oh crap, another patch. But, as I was going through and trying to find out what might be inkling in the new patch, our buddies at SWTOR Strategies takes this time to remind us that we are still 3 weeks out from getting patch 1.7, which we're all looking forward to. So presumably this is only for bug fixes and maybe a new cartel pack or an update on it. And it says don't forget to pick up your life day items. Don't forget to have picked up your life day items because as of this week's maintenance, it will be no more. So if you did not buy what you want from life day.
How much is that snowblower?
About
2,400?
Something like that. Let's see. Hold on. I think I have a listing for the cartel market.
I think it's 2,400, which is what, about $20?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I know I bought it. Yeah, I had to have it. I'm a douche.
I'm not paying $20 for a mount.
It's a beautiful mount, though. And
Warcraft, the most expensive mount I bought in Warcraft was $10, and that went at least it went to charity.
Yeah, but they don't do free to play, and you have to remember how much it was to initially get some of those dragon mounts, like your proto drake that took 3 weeks and 3,000 days at least, things like that, or getting a really uber dragon mount.
I don't have one proto drake.
There was
I don't even have one proto drake.
20,000 gold, I think it was, to get the Tundra Traveler Mammoth. And that Tundra mount was epic because it had a store and
that was only $50 worth of gold.
$50.
Okay, I bought extra stuff too, but I got the three rider mount, some other stuff.
And then think about I think it wasn't you. It was actually Guyver, the people who wanted a Mechanohog. That thing would cost you a ton of credits, a ton of gold, easy.
Still, $20 for a mount, not.
It was worth it for me.
No,
I love my mount.
No,
my redneck snowblower is up the bum.
If it never comes out again, then that's worth it.
Yeah, hopefully you guys got what you wanted. Well, presumably they would update it for the following year with any intelligence. Maybe it'll be a different color. Maybe it'll have maybe instead of having skin,
it'll blow yellow snow.
It'll have Darth helmets all over it. Something crazy. Maybe it'll say the sports is with you as you drive.
Maybe you'll get a Winnebago with wings.
Oh, dude, I would do it if it looked like a pedal car. But they want to remind us. I could just see my bigger characters going around. But hopefully you guys got what you wanted off the cartel market because it will be gone tomorrow.
Well, as far as the
by the time you download
the Life Day stuff.
Right, the Life Day. Now, of course, everything else will be there, and possibly, if they thought of another holiday, they can make some loot off of. We'll get a new one off of that.
Halloween's coming up. Jesus.
St. Patty's Day in the U.S.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day is what I was thinking of, which reminds me a lot of Halloween. So,
pink Stormtrooper customizable gear.
Oh, that would be it. Sweezer would be all into that.
I can see that one happening. or another crossbow that just happens to have hearts on it or something ridiculous. I can see that happening only because they've already reached the gap we were worried they'd go to.
They have the heart bomb. It throws
Oh.
sparkle bomb, little hearts float around it.
Oh, dude, that'd be epic to see on the Imperial fleet. We're all throwing heart bombs on each other. We love you. We love you. We love you. Knowing that it's the whole brood of our society is based on hate. RP that shit up. And they did take the time to remind us that
the new emote, Prance.
Well, that would work for those scrawny Type 1 characters like my wife likes to make in males that are all
the ones that are all going to be gay anyway. Yeah.
Well, when they come out with SSG, so same-sex gaming. But there is a cantina meeting that is supposed to take place in March. That we look forward to seeing what they say is going to happen. That's going to be on March 1st when my taxes finally get accepted. And we'll find out from the devs what new information they might be willing to glean for us, however short it may end up being. I was excited. We always talk about the free to play and how you can get the most from your experience, and you're trying to play as a 50 at max level, and it's been rather brutal for you. Having to basically do your dailies just so you can unlock the stuff that they're making you pay for now. And for the new people, there's a great tips and tricks strategy guide for each dungeon for those of us who run Dungeons Constant. But they also have a great strategy guide for those who are free to play. Things like as a subscriber, you'd be granted monthly credit, cartel coins. You get one character, guild, or legacy name change per month, which is kind of crazy as far as all this stuff that they say you get as a pay to player. But then they also have some other things that you can use as far as starting you can't necessarily be in general chat, so they teach you how to create your own channel so that you can talk to whoever you want to.
Right.
In your channel and be able to get in and out of those, which is very good. How to make yourself a moderator on the channel so that if someone somehow gets into it because you didn't put a password on there,
because you can't put a password on there.
Well, no, they show that you can.
They must have changed it, because I remember way back when I made my own chat channel for the for whatever reason just played it with it, and I couldn't get rid of it. B, anybody joined it. And I had no way of passwording it, so they must have changed that.
Well, they have a full list of / commands to operate your own chat channel, so that if you are free to play and you're trying to get to a few people, or you're trying to get into a group and you can't necessarily type in general, you can now start your own channel and be able to talk to whoever you want to. Be able to ban them, how to mod it, keeping a full list of channels, things of that nature. It says, of course, they have a few more quick tips. Save space on your quick bars by removing spells and abilities that stay on once you enable them. Kind of like, we take off run, your personal buff or your legacy-wide buff, things like that. That way you have more use for spells. You know exactly where you need to use it. There are some abilities that you won't really use. You need to make sure you take awareness of that. And it's true. I mean, as a 50, I like having all of my spells out, but there's probably 7 whole keys that I use on a quick bar.
Yeah.
So really, 2 quick bars works out fine if you don't, if you're sticking to a primary rotation.
Yeah.
Those of us who pay to play, it's more of an entitlement deal where we think that we have 200 spells, we have to see every one of them at any given time.
Well, not only that, but when you're sub player, you get to do more PvP, you get to do more dungeons. When you're a free to player, there's certain spells and certain things that you need to be able to do in PvP more than you would in just running around doing missions. So you would need those out because of the situation you're in. Whereas if you're just, like I said, if you're just leveling, there's certain things you just will never need, really.
And it says under number 3, it says you can only have 200 credits per character when you're on a free-to-play account. You can work around this by creating mule alts to hold your money and items you are buying, selling, and trading. So kind of creating one account specifically, or one character or a couple extra characters just to hold all your crap. So while you may have to log into them, they will literally be the equivalent of what we used to have in WoW before.
Banks.
Yeah, before they actually gave us big banks, which is bank alts, which is a great idea because it gives you a character you may eventually play, you may not, but in the meanwhile you have ready access to most of your items. If you're trying to stow up because you're on a free-to-play account, you want to do like Lanyard's doing, and being able to buy all these unlocks so that you can get a little bit more pleasure out of your game, but it also allows you to have a chance to hit up the auction house. Send all go out and farm and be able to send all those mats off to another bank alt, which is a great way to do it. When buying and selling on the GTN, keep a close eye on how much money you have and how close you are to the cap on that character. That way you don't max your cap out, and then it's a pain in the ass to put that stuff onto your other characters, and you kind of tie it up in escrow. If your companion dies, instead of reviving and healing, you can just desummon and resummon the character.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of us do anyway, because it's a pain in the ass to sit there and do our self heal, our out of combat heal, to be able to regen health on that character.
Dismiss and yeah.
There are no restrictions on level for free-to-play characters, so you can reach level 50 just like with preferred players. And of course, they do have a link to the features list. So I mean, and they did say at the beginning that we were going to get all the storyline that comes with the game, and that's of course reaching the 50 and being able to start off from your home planet and finishing up in Corellia, and then of course Element at one point or another. Free-to-play does not have access to the Twi'lek unless you unlock it from the stores or buy it for credits off the GTN.
Yep.
So if you want to be able to play characters, once again you have utilization of the auction house to be able to buy those unlocks that are so critical. I mean, maybe you do make that first character, get it all the way to 50, and you're like, man, I don't want to play a Zabrak, I don't want to play a human. You can buy those unlocks through cash.
Yep. And
that's in-game credit. It doesn't have to be, cartel coins. Let's see. Okay, so trying to slowly but another thing about purchasing multiple self-reses from the GTN because you only get 5 apparently a day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of crazy. I mean, that does, and I mean, with respect, it's not like as a free-to-player you're going to do what my wife and you were trying to do, which is get to max level, get to the end of the game at as low a level as possible. So you're actually going to go for the full experience just because that's the bulk of what you're able to do. Before you start buying a lot of unlocks, evaluate how much you really want and need, and determine if it would be cheaper just to buy a subscription rather than purchasing a lot of unlock bonuses. And once again, that goes to whether or not you want to spend the time earning it at 50 to be able to buy those unlocks for your characters, or if you would rather just pony up the dough and get all those unlocks as soon as you hit 50 or before then. I would honestly say that some of the unlocks, while very nice, are not necessarily essential until you get to the far end of the game anyway. And I say that being a pay-to-player, so as a free-to-play, there might be a slightly different, look at it. Me, frankly, the 2 bars sounds like it'd be decent. I don't even think I really fudged with much more than 2 bars until I got to, I'd say in my 40s or so, because at that point I'm pulling out my quick bars so that I can get on my mount faster, or I can do my self-heal, things of that nature. Let's see, what else was there? Of course, EA announced that coming up on the 30th of this month, they will be releasing the results of their fiscal year for this year, or for this previous year. So we'll be able to find out exactly where SWTOR stands in the line of, did we earn enough cash? That argument is what we had the first year of during the first year of SWTOR. We were pulling in tons of cash. They said we were kind of missing the mark, and they were trying to figure out ways to drum it up. And at last year's annual meeting is when we heard about free-to-play happening. So it'll be interesting to see if they admit to the investors that free-to-play was the way to go and that they are seeing great gains out of it, or if we find out that maybe we were better off sticking around as, just paying as you go. And see, in another article, they were talking to Damian Schubert about the cartel packs, and he puts a little thought into the metrics and he thinks that the prices on the auction house are about where they need to be. The drop rates are right in line with where they want them to be. So it looks like the packs are definitely paying off as far as Damian Schubert's concerned. I don't know. I understand the rarity of rare items, and that's great. There are some things I would have liked to see as far as box drops happening. I would like to see more. I would like to see things like the quick bar unlocks or the bank slots unlocked. So I could actually just buy more of those with those random cards as opposed to having to buy them with my in-game cash. But it's not like I'm hurting, so it's not that big of a deal. The additional inventory modules. The other things that would be nice is I'd like to see a better variety of speeders. We've gotten away with a few minor modifications and color alternatives, but outside of that, I haven't seen a huge difference in the overall speeders themselves. But haven't been in game, and I really haven't had the cash to float to get some of those new packs in. Definitely would like to see a few more of those packs. But as I said, because of the fact that we have literally no new patches, that'll do it for the news.
Yeah. Probably our shortest news bit in like a year.
I'm trying to pull up. We had some comments from a few of our other...
Oh yeah, let's respond to some of our comments.
Yeah. Let's see. Under the BBY, interestingly, one of our viewers caught the Clitolingus cutscenes coming soon in update 6.9. Definitely like that,
6.9.
response.
Yes.
Actually, I thought I gave it a thumb up. Let me give another vote.
6.9 would give you the Red Wings, right?
Yeah. It's going to be fantastic little swooshes on the sides of your helmet. Reminders of a dark day gone by.
Why so serious?
Let's see. Oh, look at this. Wow, we've had quite a few comments on last week's show. It says you guys definitely should roll characters on the Harbinger. Let's see, it says you guys should definitely...
I've got one there.
I've
got one on every server.
Well, he says you guys should definitely should roll characters on the Harbinger. Though I am thinking about playing some more. It's Kiwi.
It's Kiwi.
Playing Kiwi some more on Potiv. But apparently, Potiv has better PvP than the Harbinger server does. I didn't even know that was his primary server, but I may look into it. Darth Sidious says I'm still playing, which is in Tilly's. He says, just not on Tilly's. I got sick of running around 8 and 16-man hard mode and no gear dropping for imp, so I rolled a Sin and a Jug. So he's just playing on the other side. It says, Vasilis Karepis says, great show, guys. A correction. The ads say 1,000K credits, which is actually 1 million. So I guess 1 million credits for $10, $10. I guess that's not terrible.
Nah, I'd drop 60. I'd drop $100 and say, all right, fess it up. All right, hand it over. I gave you $100. You said 5 minutes. Let's go. I've done that in the goal. I've done that in WoW. I've paid their max, and then they're like, we don't have that much. Hey, you better find it. Took them 3 days to get it to me, but they got it all to me.
Oh no, I was up for, I think the worst was 20, almost 30 hours straight. The farmers said that they delivered within 30 minutes.
Yeah. Right.
So I put in my order. They charged my card, and I'm waiting at Booty Bay because everyone knows in WoW that's where the trade goes down.
Booty Bay. Yep.
And it's Booty Bay or the conjunctive site. I can't remember what that one's called right now.
No, not Booty Bay. It's right there, just east of Crossroads.
Right.
That one.
But yeah, that one that we can't remember. See, guys, we really don't
Haven't played forever. And listeners are screaming at us right now.
But you know, they said, oh yeah, we got it. I think I bought something like, I don't know, it was a ridiculous amount of credits. It was probably close to 20 or so thousand.
Yeah, I bought 30,000 once.
Yeah, and
it took them
they were like
2 days.
Fastest delivery, and I paid $80 or $90 for the 20 or 30,000 credits, and we were getting ready. We were getting ready for a raid, getting ready to run Naxxramas, and I was like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I'll just wait for a friend over here at the blah blah blah, and the whole reason I had done it was because I was giving my nephew money to buy his flying mount. I was giving my wife money to buy her flying.
Ratchet.
And then money for my niece to buy her flying.
Ratchet,
that's right.
I was like,
and that's what I was waiting for. You know, and since I haven't heard of accounts getting hacked in this game, I don't know that buying credits is all that bad of a deal in this one.
No.
Though I'm sure some way, somehow, it's possibly against the EULA.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
You know,
I'm sure it is.
Well, I mean, they're making money off us. What's wrong with somebody else? They're inevitably, these people have to play the game, whether it be free to play or otherwise.
I see 100K.
They're also.
Let's see, that's $1 million for $10.
Mm-hmm. If it's 1,000K, it's $1 million for like $10. That's pretty gravy to me.
Yeah, I give them $100. They give me $100 million.
Maybe. I don't know that there's a credit cap in this game. I haven't seen one.
I have one.
Yeah, well,
it's all going to escrow.
I don't.
I don't know if I can make that many alts.
Let's see. Stephen Jones wanted to let you know, Leonard. He says, "LOL, nice setup." So he's definitely kind of like the way you changed it up.
Yeah.
Nice video, subbed. I love this game from Taste the Rage TV. And then Spartan Kill It said, first, LOL, I found you guys. Didn't realize that you left TGN. I quit SWTOR a while back, not by choice. Now I'm back and trying to catch up, and you guys are a ton of help. So
cool.
Anything we can do to help you out there, Spartan. So really, it looks like overall, you know, the showing for not just for us, but for SWTOR, the support is very much still there. And obviously, we didn't expect it to drop off completely, as we said in earlier shows. And I think before, you know, Kevin and I stopped, before you joined the crew, I had told Kevin that no matter what happens in an MMO, MMOs don't necessarily die.
No.
The only one to disprove I thought on that was City of Heroes.
Yeah. Well, that's only because they killed it, not because the players killed it. They just decided, we're done with this and we're not going to do any more updates, and then after that they just turned it off.
Yeah.
Which, or if they're not going to do any updates, just leave it going, unless it costs them money to run it. I guess it probably does cost them money to run servers, but...
Well, yeah, I mean, I looked at, I was talking to Mep and Vort the other day, and I was telling them how, you know, we really enjoy certain types of games and certain types of servers. So I had looked into, and now mind you, this is just for 64 people to play on a BF3 server. It's like $80. But when you've got thousands of people playing on a server base on your programming, not only are you dealing with paying for, you know, making sure the updates and maintenance is done just on the servers to keep the gear optimal, but then you also have to figure that you're still gonna people are still gonna bitch and find bugs.
Yeah.
You've got to pay tech support for that game. You've got to pay for know, player support. So if you're not really drumming up the cash, I can see why they would have shut it down.
Yeah.
That, you know, to be honest, if the developer loses the interest in a game, there's really no point in playing it.
You know, I always wanted to start have a server for a BC and before World of Warcraft. I always wanted to run my own server for that. You know, because after BC was when I just thought it started going downhill, and I loved prior to BC, and you know, I would love to be able to do that and be able to be the guy, you know, the World of Warcraft, the god, you know, going in there and changing things up a bit, and you know, not making it stupid, but you know, making it fun, like having, you know, world bosses roam around.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
being able to kite dragons.
Had Kevin ever told you about his experience on
I
being a
think
moderator.
I think you did. Yeah. Yeah.
And my nephew's played on a few private servers for that. So, I mean, the point is that the Star Wars universe isn't going anywhere
No.
anytime soon. I know they did shut down Galaxies, but from what I remember, Galaxies was a combination of a horridly aggravated user base and a group of people that just weren't willing to push the game along any further. I don't see the same disdain. Each week when I log in, I see new guilds, I see new players. I may not see the old guys, but that's kind of the deal. It's a constant flow in and out.
We'll know how they're doing on the 30th.
Yeah. Well, we'll know how EA is doing as to what they want to tell their bankers what's going on with their games. And last year EA was like, oh well, we've seen so much in the iOS market and so much in the casual gamers market. That there's potential where we see that they say, since going free to play, we've had X amount of this. I thought for sure that the surveys that Darth Vader's done would shed a fair amount of light on what's going on with the game. But being that my experience has been more and more gamers in the game, I have seen a heavy interest as of late with a lot of the hardcore gamers looking into Elder Scrolls Online. I'm wondering how that's going to affect the game because the way they're treating almost everything is a little bit like what we have in Star Wars and a little bit different. They're looking at it for their PvP. They're looking at more world type battles like what GW2 did. With all of their questing, they're telling us that you can either do it by yourself or if you choose to with a group. They're also using a really odd system. I'm not sure I like, and I won't know until if I get into the beta, whether I dislike it. They're using a system where they're just doing a single server, and they're using mega server programming so that they can have thousands.
I wish SWTOR would do that.
People at once.
I really do wish SWTOR would just knock it down to maybe 2 servers. PvP. PvP, PvE, and call it that. Because you can RP on any server you want. Yeah. If they just knock it down to PvP, PvE, no, I'm not talking like Europe and Australia and have their own separates. I'm talking worldwide, unless you speak Russian or German, obviously. If you speak German, you can't read it anyway because it's all written wrong. But
WoW's programming was intelligent enough to translate.
Right.
Because with the exception of when you played on a Hispanic server, it was in English everywhere. And we talked to people that were in Germany, and yes, they might know a little bit of English, but it's not like they were typing in English. It's not like you get a QWERTY keyboard in every third world country.
Right.
So
well, that's like playing World of Tanks.
Dude, I just called. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to call
Germany. Germany's not a third world country, bro. They're the best country in Europe right now. They're the only ones that aren't fiscally fucked. Anyways.
But it's not like everybody runs off the same keyboard. No. So inevitably, the programming in WoW was able to translate.
Yeah.
And rightly so. I know there's some things that probably don't translate that well. Obviously, 3/4 of the signage in Archibald don't translate right to German or French or apparently sometimes not even English.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played games where the chat's all different. You get English and then somebody will write in Korean and you're like, or it'll just be box because my shit doesn't understand what it's typing.
Right.
Or it's in Russian. A lot of it's in Russian, and I'm like, oh my god! But that's because it's a worldwide one server. That's
right.
EVE is the same way.
And Battlefield's the same way. Battlefield, there's occasions where somebody will type and it'll be in German, and then it'll be typed up again and it's in English, and you're like, oh, so it's just a translation issue. Where it'll actually post it twice because it'll post what he said in his native language, and then it'll post it in English.
Yeah.
And I play only on U.S. servers. Yeah. And that would be good. I know a lot of the European players are saying, what the hell? There's next to nobody on here.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you just put it all in one. Sorry.
And they didn't start with a shit ton of servers in the first place. So it would be helpful, and maybe it would be in their case or in their minds admitting defeat by pulling down some of the worldwide servers or condensing the worldwide servers. I think in a money aspect, it would save a lot of cash. But in the other side, it's one less thing. because what Elder Scrolls is telling people is, listen, you don't have to worry about finding your friends. We'll find them for you. You don't have to worry about playing with these types of people. They're literally doing a sub-screen survey as you're going. They're saying they're going to do a sub-screen survey to basically get you in. Like if you're a hardcore raider, or all you're intent on is story mode, all you're intent on is PvP.
Gotcha.
And instead of sharding you off to a different area, they're going to find people. They're going to have a suggested friends list or a suggested grouping list. If you have somebody, like in our cases where Lanyard's your name and Dadakar's mine and White Savan or White Sword is Kevin's, we can say we're looking for this person, and it'll put us with them the quest.
Cool.
You know, and you've got three main factions to work with there, and that's kind of a cool idea. But you know, what if I say, well, I am in the hardcore PvP and I am in a hardcore PvE, and I get grouped with some people, but I'm having a casual day. I really don't want to be around those people, and the world just transports me over to a group of hardcores.
Well, you're FOL.
And and there's the other option, which was if you want to be with people of a certain age range.
That would be nice.
And well, nice and not though, because how many times do we end up running into someone who, while under our age or not in our preferred age range, they end up being a hell of a lot better and sometimes tutoring us in shit. I mean, it is somewhat.
That's why I don't want to run with them.
It does happen. You don't want to run with them because make you look old.
Yeah, everybody under 15 is just pros, and I don't like that shit.
Oh Jesus!
I want to run with the old school. You know, I want to run with the people that know what an Etch-a-Sketch is.
It's my monitor when I spray shit on it.
Right.
But it's kind of an interesting idea. I still am not a big fan of the enormous world battle PvP matches.
They never work.
Well, they're saying that there's going to be a purpose. They're working on an idea that takes the PvP battle area to a whole new level. With the idea of grouping up and taking objectives, or just going around and collecting supplies.
Kind of like what APB does, then.
Yeah.
APB will put you in a group if you say, okay, I'm ready. It just throws you in a group, and then that group is on that mission, and the whole city map, the whole map is PvP. I mean, it's. Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting to see what they're thinking about doing. And seeing what they're taking away from from the other games, because they do reference Star Wars, they reference WoW in their press releases, and they're trying to make sure that they stay true to their game, but allow us to get an MMO experience out of it.
Take the best from.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, and no one can beat Bethesda when it comes to their Elder Scrolls series. It's a great storyline.
Never played it. Never played it. I've never played Skyrim. Never even looked into the Elder Scrolls. No clue. Never played it.
You are so lucky. This is a SithTalk show.
Because when Skyrim came out, all the videos I saw were first person, and I don't play first person. I can't stand first person. So I just said I'm not playing it. And then I found out it was a playthrough, and then you beat it. And I don't play those games that very much anymore anyway. So I'm not going to play it. I heard it was really great, but okay, good, that's great. I mean, Felicia played it all the time, and she loved it and whatever. And I was like, well, Kevin plays it all the time, fine, whatever. But I just couldn't get into it. I was like, these are
in the realm of action RPGs. It's a heavyweight. It's It speaks volumes, just like the Mass Effect series speaks for BioWare. It's great story writing, and they're hoping to be able to adapt the basery idea of the games to a larger platform, much as what BioWare is attempting to do with SWTOR. They haven't said anything about level caps yet. They haven't really released anything about trade or any of the other stuff, so we don't know how that's going to stack up. Right? Yeah. It's in closed beta. They're opening closed beta soon.
Oh.
So, that's an interest for me because I'm always interested in stacking one MMO against the other and seeing which ones or what parts of which ones I like better than others. And now that I've been in a few betas, I'm really excited. I don't know. The things in Star Wars that keep me from going back to from playing WoW are the things like
Wow.
It keeps me from going back because I like the progression. I like the story modes that I get in Star Wars. I like the fact that if I need a particular mat, I can either get it off the GTN, I can farm it myself, or I can send off a pet or send off a companion, and they can go and get hopefully what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Which in WoW you had the GTN and you had going and farming it yourself, which could be a hit or miss proposition.
Yeah.
Spending hours on end, running around the same zone, hoping to hit the nodes you were looking for in the first place.
Yeah, but at least you knew where they were at. If you were looking for, whatever, you could just go online and find the map, and it would show you what areas that you could go to. That's where they spawned. In Star Wars, you have no idea. It's like I'm looking for, certain type of metal, and you kind of have to remember, okay, well, the metal is grade 5, so it's a grade 5 planet, but it could be on 4 and 3. It could be, I could find it on, it's like you have to just kind of go all over the place. Whereas in WoW, if I was looking for, I don't know, iron ore, I would know, I could go to the map and say, these are the sections of the continent that have iron ore, or gold, or silver, or whatever the other, that glowy green colored one. You can look at that stuff. Whereas they don't have that for SWTOR. You have to know what graded metal it is, and then you have to guess what planets they'd be on.
I don't know. I'm kind of finding mats right here on the interwebs.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
No, you're lying. Show us, Dat.
Right here on Allmar's Guides, SWTOR farming guides.
Okay. Where's the map?
Well, I can't put it up on your screen, you dick.
Put a link, and I will look for it at the end of the show.
I'm looking at it now, trying to see if it. Yeah, they've got Ilum on this particular map, but.
Oh, that's where you find everything.
Yeah, well, and you're not. The problem is that unlike some of the farming maps that we found in previous games, there's no add-on.
No, there's not.
But like, was it
But even without add-ons, you knew that in low-level areas you're going to find low-level stuff. Granted, it's the same way in Star Wars, but it just seems like it's kind of random. It's like there's no. Granted, the nodes always pop up in the same spot, but
right.
it seems kind of random. Like you'd be on Corellia and you'd kill a robot and you end up with a grade 2 metal. Why? It should be a grade 5 metal, and on top of that, you don't have any grade 6 metals at all. You have to get those from your companions or the auction house. So,
but there actually I found the.
I disassembled HK-47 and I got some crappy grade 3 product and I'm in a hard mode. What the hell? It should be grade 6. But,
all right. Well, I got one for you, Lenny.
Okay.
It's not map. But
okay.
It's referenced.
Tells you what planets to look for.
It looks like this person was building their listings.
Cool.
So it's not perfect, but it's
good.
proof
I'm glad.
that there are stuffs out there, you dick.
Whatever, they weren't where I was looking.
No, that's when you were looking.
I was looking for it. I was looking for it day 3, and they didn't have the stuff, and I was mad.
Yeah. Day 3, everyone was still trying to figure out where they were in the first place. Granted, we've argued before that they needed a slightly better map or detailed map because the ability to know where you were on the map was very minimal.
Yeah.
When exploring places like Nar Shaddaa that had 50 doors, but only one of them could be entered.
Right.
Right. But I don't know. I really am jonesing. I want to get back and get my power supply installed. If someone happens to have a 1,000-watt power supply, message me on Skype. I'll be happy to give you my fucking address so I can get into the game.
I got one. It's $1 a watt.
You're funny. Otherwise, I'll have to wait till right there. But I otherwise I'll have to wait till I have the 250 to get the 1300 watt power supply that I want off of Newegg this the coming week, and that'll be how I or this in the next couple of weeks, because that's fucking expensive.
Plugs it in, turns it on, the whole power grid drops.
That'll be if I build the second computer for myself. Although that does mean I'll have the ability to record in one room and play my games in the other, which may be a plus, because then I won't be so distracted.
Dog eating, wife yawning,
Hey,
the nephew getting food.
Hey, my wife might do it, but guess what? Your new lady friend?
I know. I know. I can hear her text messages.
As long as I don't hear her take a fart.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
If she busts off a giblet, we're gonna be in trouble.
It's not gonna happen.
But I hate to draw the show in so soon, guys. I know we normally go for about an hour and 45, but as we are short on news and we are short on time, I do apologize. We will be working on getting some more information. As we get closer to 1.7, we get the finite details of that. We're definitely going to share it. I will encourage you guys. I went through and I told you that I didn't want to step on Soren's toes over at SWTOR Strategies. I wanted to be able to, if I did guides, I want to do video guides for you, not through the podcast, because reading his guides would suck, and I feel like I was ripping him off. But Soren has a list of just about every map at this point. So as you're going through and doing different dungeons, there's going to be that up there on the SWTOR Strategy site, which I have not seen really. There's a database system on Darth Hader's site, but there isn't the strategy guides that are available at SWTOR's site. So I definitely go to SWTOR Strategies if you want to check out some of the dungeons if you're having some trouble. They have ops, they have the standard dungeons, they also have guides to leveling up your crafting abilities and your scavenging abilities. So definitely a plus there, as well as, like I stated earlier, we had the tips and tricks for free-to-players. I wish I could run SWTOR so that I could start the faux free-to-play account, but I will definitely be doing that in February, and that'll be a nice start there, especially if I can get the parts for my computer upgrades. Otherwise, I still want to say thank you guys for supporting us, and we hope to bring you a longer episode next time. If you haven't yet, please make sure to check out Name in Progress, also available on our SithTalk main account, or on our SithTalk YouTube account. Our first episode is still up for a couple more weeks on our SithTalk Podomatic page, and I'm working on getting it its own pod site and its own iTunes listing as we speak. So thank you guys for another week of your attention, your loving ears, and we definitely want to thank you for supporting Audible Trials, audibletrial.com/SithTalk, and we'll see you in the pit.
Thank you again for joining us here on SithTalk. Lanyard and Dadakar look forward to talking with you next week. Remember to follow us on Twitter at SithTalk, or stop by our Facebook page at facebook.com/SithTalk. And of course, our Gmail is SithTalk@gmail.com. This music brought to you by freeplay.com. And remember, peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me.